I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Amy.
Let's discuss.
Here we are for episode 15.
Not talking about veganism.
Nobody has freaked out though, so that's good. Nobody has freaked. Maybe because I was like, "Don't freak out on us," and they actually listened. But
no, I know people just take things out of context sometimes a lot.
Yeah, I think the comments so far have been pretty supportive of just like totally see where you're coming from. I'm sort of the same way. Like I love animals, but I eat meat. But let's not talk about that.
Anyways, we did that already.
Let's not open that Pandora's box.
Episode, you can watch what we said about veganism and how we feel.
And just animals.
Honestly, nothing
in general.
too controversial because we kind of are very open-minded people.
Yes.
And to other people's opinions.
We stand by our opinions and we can respect yours.
Hi, I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Amy. And we're on Patreon. Please check out our Patreon. The link will be here on the screen because of our amazing editor. And for a low price of $5 a month membership for our account, you're going to get access to our couch karaoke videos.
So professional and well done.
Amazing singing by us. And also some extra food reviews and some other behind the scenes footage that we'll add from time to time. So check us out and thanks for your support.
Yeah.
Can I just talk about the two animals that I'm a little obsessed with right now that are going viral?
Talk about it.
Bumpy the hippo.
Oh, Bumpy.
I mean, Moodang is like done. It's all about Bumpy
That's
right now.
So
no, I'm just kidding. Moodang, I'm sure, is still amazing, but Bumpy was found, I don't know if it was in Kenya, somewhere where there are a lot of animals in Africa. But
Bumpy the hippo.
His mother had been killed, and they found him laying next to his mother's dead body, crying. So he's rescued, and now he's inseparable with his caretaker. He sleeps with him at night.
Aww.
And he nuzzles up to. Oh my God!
That's
I can't
so
even.
Cute. We'll put
like
Andrew
if you
put
feel
a
like
picture
sobbing
for us.
today, go ahead and look at Bumpy's story. It's just very heartwarming. I mean, it's super tragic and sad because he lost his mother, but he now has a caretaker who loves him. And like, how do you get that job? I want to sleep with baby hippos and take care of them and raise them.
New calling for you? Maybe working with animals?
Yeah. Bye.
You actually could.
Going to Kenya. I think maybe you have to have like a zoology degree or something.
I was going to say,
not going back to school.
You worked within the pet industry, though.
That's a little different, I think, a hippo.
Well, for hippos and stuff, yeah, but I was saying, in general, you could work with animals.
I have to go get the snack out of the...
We have a couple snacks today.
Out of the Tavala oven.
Yes.
I'm excited about my snacks.
I hope everybody's week is going well. I got In and Out today for lunch, if anybody cares. I know nobody asked, but I did.
Nobody asked.
I like saying random stuff. I haven't done. Oh wait, yeah. Hold on. See like this red thing? It's like the I voted sticker. We voted for the mayor and the governor and whatnot today. There's so many different things to fill out and so many people running for so many different things. I think this was my first time voting for the governor as well. It was. And it's really funny because I was just telling my mom this, and I bet you guys have maybe felt this way when you're young too. Like you think like the governor or like the president is just gonna be like president or governor forever. Like
that's
I
who you know
Gavin
as a kid,
Newsom
and yeah,
was gonna be like the governor forever or was gonna be able to run forever. So I didn't even think about it in my head.
Yeah, I know. The
Until
first president that I
recently.
remember, I was born in 1972, and the first president that I remember like being like, oh, that's my president is Jimmy Carter, which is kind of cool because Jimmy Carter was like a mensch for sure.
Obama for me.
Oh, I love that. We both had good presidents.
Cool.
I mean, here's the thing: Carter was not a great president, but he was a great human being, and his legacy that he left long after he was president is just amazing. You know, he was like the Habitat for Humanity guy, and he really like talked the talk and walked the walk, and was just like a really like Obama, like a decent man and a decent human being who really cared about the constituents of this country.
Keep joking about the Obama biopic. Have you seen those clips online where people would be like POV, like the scenes in the Obama biopic?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, man, you just want to hang out with Michelle. and then the guy, and it's like, what do you think you are, the president? And he's like,
actually.
I like his college, it's like set in his college years.
Yeah. No, I watched
so
it.
Funny.
Yeah, totally. You just want to
Oh
hang
my
out on the
gosh.
show. All right. Should we do sound of the day before we show our snacks?
Yeah, sure.
Sound of the day. Okay, here we go. Ready? One, two, three.
Gah.
Gah. Oh, gah. Extra gah.
Gah.
Feeling gah? How was your guitar lesson?
Oh, my guitar lesson was good.
Okay.
I have to Venmo him. Anyways, but my guitar lesson was good today, and then I had in and out with my boyfriend, and then he went back to work. And now I'm doing this podcast, and then I'm also going to a mini prom thing at UCLA tonight.
Fun.
Because my friend is in an a cappella group there. And they're
Amazing.
having a big ass party. And so I'm so fun. I'm so fun. I'm so excited to go because
You are so fun.
It should be fun. And so I'm excited.
That's cool.
But things are getting busy and I have 3 performances coming up. It was so funny. Like my guitar teacher asked me, he's like, "What have you been up to?" And I was like, "Nothing." But then I was like,
Wait a minute.
I
lot.
literally was just like, I'm so unemployed right now. And then I went, wait, I literally have 3 performances coming up.
Yeah, that's the
And
thing
that's
about
the thing
being a
is being
performer.
like
You could
might
be
not
making
employed,
negative money, but
you
you're
are doing
so busy.
so freaking much.
And I think that's
constantly.
what we're going to talk about a lot today for this
Because we're going
episode.
to talk about specifically auditioning.
Yes, the process of
And all the things that
auditioning,
come
the
with it,
art form of
and-
auditioning, the ups and downs of auditioning, the do's
And I have
and don'ts.
a lot to learn about auditioning. You've been auditioning for so long.
And I still have things to learn.
I really avoided auditions in the past, but I'm starting to audition again and trying to come at it from a place of like love and gratitude, because I think that was really hard for me in the past because I resented the industry for like a little bit, or at least just auditioning, especially when I was a kid, because I just got such bad anxiety.
Well,
I
and
felt
it
that
was
nobody liked me.
particularly difficult for someone in your situation in that you worked for 9 solid years and then were just thrown into this audition arena with kids who have spent the last 9 years just auditioning. And there's a difference between what you do when you're working as an actor on screen
And the way you
and what
do
you do in the
audition.
audition room or even on a self-tape. They are very different muscles and they both require practice, right?
Yeah.
To get good at them. And so she just came out of not auditioning. Like when you're on a contracted network show like that, you a lot of times you can't really even audition for other things. You're not allowed to. So and then
True, actually, that makes sense.
yeah, because you have an exclusivity with them. Like you can't audition to be on other shows. It'd be like, why is Lily on this other show? Because people identify
Yeah.
you as that character. And then like you could have auditioned for commercials, but generally they want people who
want
look like
somebody who's
real
not
people.
recognizable.
So
And
yeah, so
I
you
guess
really
if
didn't have that
even if I
opportunity to
really
audition.
Wanted to, I couldn't,
Yeah.
And I did start to audition towards the end of my time being on Modern Family, and that just was like,
It was
I think
stressful.
just between me being a tween and being on a series regular show, the world going into a pandemic and whatnot, it was just not a good
It was
mix.
not ideal.
And I don't think I was
I'm gonna make my camera
that
closer.
inclined to be an actress / actor at the time. I wasn't. And so, therefore, I didn't put my all into it and I didn't give my best. Or at least I didn't know how to give my best.
Yeah, you know what? Like we all go through different. Not by my microphone. We go through different phases in life, and like I think anybody would agree that being a tween is just a really difficult time on many different levels.
I literally just cared about having friends and having a boyfriend.
I know.
Like
it's
having friends, having a boyfriend, being normal, and riding my horses.
yeah, and I think
That
there
is
was a lot
literally
you
what I
felt you
cared
missed
about.
out on because you didn't get to go to regular school and do regular kid things, and you just wanted to catch up on that and do those things.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I also
fine.
think there was never, when I was growing up, I never felt this need of like, this is my calling. And when I was raised not religious or spiritual in any manner at all. And so I never thought to myself that like people having destinies, like kind of just like destiny, fate, hope, anything around that
Sounds like
kind
a girl
of
group.
like, I know it sounds like a bunch of girls. Like anything to do with that, I never felt like, or callings, I never felt that that was like a real thing that people thought about. And so I never thought I feel some sort of calling for myself. And so I think that's why I didn't like why I didn't want to act at the time. Yeah, that like mixed with my insecurity. I didn't feel like my life had a purpose necessarily, and if it did have a purpose, that it wasn't going to be acting. Is what I felt.
Yeah.
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 Also,
let's talk about our snacks because yours is gonna melt, and I want to drink mine before it gets cold.
Put it away.
All right.
My boyfriend hated these.
He had never
He's
had a
little
mochi
white
before,
boy.
so
No. What is it called? I shouldn't have given him the green tea ones. I think because you don't like the green tea ones that much either, do you?
I like them okay.
The green tea ones are my personal favorite.
Why am I so
I like
short?
a lot
I'm
of
just
them.
gonna
I like
keep
all
adjusting
of them.
my camera. Sorry.
But I have ice cream mochi, specifically green tea ones today. And I had one last night, but let's taste test it again for you guys. Do you guys have a favorite brand of ice cream mochi? Let me know. Her spine. Mm-hmm.
I have to keep adjusting my camera because I feel like I'm shrinking and Aubrey's so much taller. Girl, she sees food. That's why she's standing up. Hi, I'm back, and Ruby is also here with me. Ruby girl. So I'm having, even though it's like 90 degrees out right now, I really wanted to have this instant coffee drink, which is a Korean brand called Maxim, and it's so yummy. It's just like a little tube of the coffee, instant coffee, and then it also has like instant dairy in it. You just pour it in with hot water and stir it up, and it's like a little coffee and creamer all together, and it's really tasty. So I'm having that in my my company mug. Ruby,
She wants all the food back.
I know. Honey, do you want to sit next to me? But I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
These are the Trader Joe's taiyaki. And if you don't know what taiyaki is, they are traditionally a Japanese treat. They're like made as a street food usually, and typically it's like an outside is like a pastry, and then inside they have a filling. It's usually in a more traditional one, sweet red bean, which Asians eat a lot in desserts. But these have a creamy custard filling, delicious. Yep. They come in the frozen section, and you have to heat them in the oven. And I just heated them in our little countertop Tovala oven, and they are adorable, and they're smell so cute. Really good.
We went to a Japanese grocery store yesterday too, and they had some mini taiyakis.
So we're excited to try these.
The red bean?
No, these are custard. Cheers.
Oh, so cute.
Oh my gosh, it's really good.
These are really good.
I think because if you eat them fresh out of the oven, they're like warm and crunchy. And that's how you get them as street food, because they make them. They pour the batter right into the iron and the filling, and they make them and serve them hot.
Trader Joe's, you've done well.
These exceeded my expectations. I wasn't expecting them to be this good. Also, why I wanted a coffee, because this is like a perfect little pairing.
Can I try a little sip of the Korean coffee?
Sure. Did you have one at the event the other day? That's where I got these from.
I
you didn't
want
to get crazy
when I have too much coffee.
Aubrey's not used to caffeine, so it makes her a little insane.
Well, I'm a matcha drinker. Surprise, surprise. An Asian girl who likes to drink matcha, who's Gen Z. So uncommon. But no, I'm more of a matcha drinker just because it's a lot lighter. Here's what I heard one of my friends tell me is that matcha specifically, compared to coffee, the caffeine kind of peaks and then you crash harder, but matcha is a more consistent caffeine that goes throughout the day. Don't back me up on that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist. But yeah, that's what I've heard. And it also has a little less caffeine in it, so it's just better overall for me.
This is just going to be a video of me eating these and drinking instant coffee.
I know, right?
That's what I feel like doing
today,
now.
talking about auditioning.
So for any of you who may have...
I'll put these mochis in the freezer.
Okay. If any of you have ever considered like, oh, I think maybe I would like to try being an actor. Or maybe you have already started that journey of becoming an actor. And I don't mean necessarily just here in LA. It could be anywhere. There's acting opportunities all over the country and all over the world. So even if you're just doing, stuff on a smaller scale or local community theater, or you're doing this microphone is like your friend's like student film or whatever. If there is an audition that is part of that process, then, this maybe will make some sense to you. We just wanted to talk about what that process is like and some of the do's and don'ts and some of the crazy experiences and good and bad experiences we've had.
Yeah. We've done all sorts of auditions. We've done singing auditions. We've done voiceover auditions. We've done, actually, you've done more dance calls than me.
Which is insane because I am not a dancer and she's much more of a dancer than I am. And she says she's not a dancer, but I mean, compared to like who can actually dance and has actually taken some classes. I've never taken classes. I am not a dancer. So, but here, okay. Let me just say this first off. One thing that obviously the pandemic and lockdown changed is that now most initial auditions, except for commercials, but for TV, film, and theater even now, are on tape. Mm-hmm. So if you want to act, you need to have a very basic setup, and it does not have to cost you a lot of money. It does not have to be fancy, but the majority of people, you just shoot it on your smartphone, your iPhone, or your Galaxy, or whatever it is you have.
People usually buy like a blue background or a gray background.
Or you can even just put a sheet up against what we just have our wall because we don't have anywhere to hang.
We just do our wall. I'm starting to think maybe I want to get like some sort of sheet or background.
We should. We just haven't gotten around to it.
You know what I did see the other day? I went into this audit for an acting class, and I was like, they showed one of their students and how they did, what is it called? How they did one of their self-tapes, and they literally made it like a movie. And sure enough, they got a call back because who the hell is doing this? Like, you know what I mean? And
so they shot like an actual scene, or?
They shot multiple shots of them out in the desert with a car, and they did it on their iPhone.
Okay.
And this student ended up getting a call back, and I'm pretty sure he booked that role specifically.
Here's the thing.
And so there's a million
that
ways.
That actually kind of pisses me off. Good for that person. Mm-hmm. But that's one thing that I will really disagree with, that because of this whole like self-taping thing now, because it wasn't like that before. Before the pandemic, everything was in person. The initial audition was in person. Then if you got a call back, you would go in person. If you went even further, there might be chemistry reads and that sort of thing, depending on the project. But what has happened now with initial auditions being self-taped is that it's made a very unfair playing field for people who have the equipment, who have the skills, who have the time, who have someone to help them, et cetera, et cetera. And this has happened in the commercial world too, where we've seen casting commercials who the casting have put up an example of like, oh, here's somebody who really used the world and did put themselves in the world and really used what they had, and blah, blah, blah. This guy had like professional level editing skills. He had a swimming pool. He had a place to like shoot this scene that made it look like the commercial.
What I will say,
he was like jumping into the water and all this stuff. And it's just like, you know what? So for those people who live in an apartment building, who don't have a pool, who don't have like a high def camera, who don't have these things, like who don't know how to edit, like I think that that's really unfair for casting to go, okay, this person has a better audition. And maybe that person was the best person for the job, but everybody I feel like should try to do the same thing generally, and then choose off of that, because as a casting director, you're supposed to know, like, can you see the talent? Can you see the person in this role? Can you see their capability? And is this what the director and writer and producers are looking for? That's your job as a casting director, is to hand them over. Here's what I think you are looking for. These are the people that match what you are looking for, not who made the coolest video.
It's not about who makes the coolest video, but I'm saying at this point, because I've been doing so many auditions, you wonder, because I feel like I'm just sending things into a black hole and I'm never going to hear from anybody ever again, is that, you know what?
That's
Might
Hollywood.
as well just experiment and see what happens, because truth is, like, you don't, certain things, editing skills I certainly don't have, but I can come up with an interesting background, or a lot of things. Like, for example, the girl that auditioned for Daisy Jones and the Six, like, very, like, simple audition, no background at all. Just did it in her living room. Like, you know what I mean?
That's the thing,
on
is
the
that
back of a chair. Like,
I think it's really unfair, though, to impress upon actors like, wow, look what this guy did. He went the extra step, and then, and he actually got the job. Because there's also a million stories of people who had, like, bare bones minimum of what they were able to do at the time, and they still booked it because they were right for the job. And that's what it is. Like, for instance, we have a friend who is a pretty prolific voice actor. He's a young person, same age as Aubrey, Ben Plasala.
Ben's great.
He plays Will on the new Stranger Things cartoon. He's on I think it's called Wild Pack on Nickelodeon, the Korean family.
He was on.
He's the white kid on that.
He was on Big Little Lies for a bit as well.
Yeah, he had like a guest star, I think, on that. Anyway, super, super talented guy, and like primarily is doing voiceover. He's a college student now. But his mom was telling me, like, one of the biggest things he ever booked, like, they were rushing to meet the deadline because you have a deadline to meet with your auditions. And he recorded it on the phone in the back seat of the car. Mm-hmm. He didn't go into a voice studio. He didn't go into his closet and put things, like, he was in the car, and it's like better to get in something than nothing. And he still booked it because his voice was right and his acting was right for the role. So, I mean, I just think it's really unfair. There are so many people in this industry who don't have the means to do extra stuff, who don't have, I mean, I have friends who have like iPhones that are like 6 models old, you know, like what are they supposed to do? Like you can't, because it used to never be on us to have to do this stuff. You've always known that world. You've always grown up with self-tape. For me, it was always like you just showed up and you read with a live person, and it was on them. I
wish we would just do that again.
I wish we would too, because it was on them to like make sure that the camera was set up right, to make sure that the sound was okay, that the room was right.
We can afford to do that again. We're not in a pandemic anymore.
Yeah, and when you go into those rooms, it's just a room. There's nothing special. There's no crazy props. There's no costumes. There's no work with this animal, or like, no, you're that's not why you're there. That's not what auditions are for. The auditions are not to make the movie. It's not your job as an actor to create that world. That makes me really mad. It's interesting that you brought that up, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
The acting studio said, what is it called, that I went to recently? They were like, well, you can't just be an actor nowadays. You have to be able to do more.
Yeah.
And that's
so be aware.
Kind of true.
Be aware. That is kind of put upon us.
I will say, my editing skills, horrible.
Me too.
I don't write screenplays. I don't write any sort of like dialogue or monologues, or I haven't before necessarily. But I'm a songwriter and I can do that. But when it comes to the film department, I'm not too versed either. But
yeah, I mean,
I do other creative things.
Yes, you're very creative.
But
so auditions, yeah, but that's the general process now. Is the first audition will be a self-tape, and tens of possibly hundreds of people will be submitting for that same part as you.
And might not be seen, I feel like.
Well, casting people say that they go through everything, but depending on what the project is, the scope of it, like how big it is, it really behooves you to try to get your audition in as soon as possible. Because the longer you wait, the more they are bogged down with multiple submissions. And sometimes, because things are being done digitally and online now, they're not just auditioning people in your city. They're auditioning people
all over the world.
From Atlanta, from New York, from London, from Paris. Like, there are people on bigger projects sending in submissions from all over the world. Yeah. So the longer you wait, the harder I think it is to be separated from the masses. And yeah, and then I think the other like really important thing as far as technicality is follow the instructions they give you.
Yes, if they do give you instructions to do things specific,
and you don't, yeah, that's when your tape will get erased. Is if they say like one of the like obvious, like most common things is you are supposed to shoot horizontally, not vertically, like you're doing a TikTok or something. Horizontal, usually like from like chest height up. They'll tell you sometimes they want it from the waist up. Sometimes they say like 2 to 3 inches above your head. Sometimes they're very, very specific how they want it framed. Sometimes they want like if you're doing a voiceover audition, you only read your parts. the person doesn't read with you, like if you have another person, every once in a while they'll ask you to do it. And they'll ask you to label your files, especially for
You have to
voiceover,
label
very
your files
specific.
very specifically,
And it's
or
not the
else
same
they're not
every
gonna
way.
get looked
It's
at.
for project to project. They want it a certain way because imagine they're getting hundreds of submissions.
Yeah.
And if the file names, they want a uniformity so it's easy for them to search and see what is being submitted. And if you don't follow it, that's like a surefire way that your tape may get just deleted because they don't have time to mess with that. So whatever instructions, don't just assume because they're like, oh, I've already done 20 auditions. This is what they always ask for. Don't assume. Read it.
Always just read.
They ask for different things in the slate. 99% of the time, the slate is name, height, where you live, where you're based. But sometimes they'll ask for something else. Sometimes they'll be like, show us the front and back of your hands. Sometimes they'll say, tell us a joke. Sometimes they'll say, like, you know, like they'll give you something really specific in the slate. And if you don't read the instructions, you totally screwed up. So that's like, you're already telling casting, like, I can follow direction or not. And that's a big part of your job as an actor is following direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, follow the directions. That's for the technicality. Now, like getting to the artistic choices part. Okay, this is my 2 cents, and then I would love to hear your take. This is something that I really didn't put a lot of stock into when I was younger, like more in my 20s when I was first getting professional auditions. But then I kept hearing it over and over and over, and I've heard many, many people say it, is more than like doing something like big with like how you shoot it or what you use or whatever. It's your acting that matters, and the way to stand out is to surprise them in a way that is authentic to you. Mm-hmm. So I feel like bringing what you have of yourself to that role, like not trying to be charactery, like overly charactery or trying to be somebody else. Hi, Ruby. But bringing what you have to that character and then giving them something that is unique to you. Because I always try to remind myself, the only person who can do this audition the way that I'm going to do it is me. And if you try to do it, play it safe, like read the role like you think that they want it, you might end up being really boring to them because that's how everybody read it.
Yeah.
Not that you'd be weird just to be weird, but really bring what you have to it, especially if it's comedy at all. And so, and it was kind of interesting because and the other thing, sorry, then I'll let you talk about this, is sometimes they will ask you for 2 takes. Like Aubrey just got a voiceover audition today where they asked for 2 takes, one in your more natural voice and one in a more of a character choice. Really do it.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll say, give us 2 totally different options. That doesn't mean you act like wacky in the second one or whatever. Just bring a different attitude to it, a different feel, a different vibe, a different emotion, whatever it is, to make it totally as different as possible from the first read. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they do something and they think it's different and it's so similar, like they don't even want to watch the second take then. If they ask for 2 takes, give them something different.
Yeah.
Actually give them something. Even if it's just a total wild card. Like if you don't know what to do with it, just totally do something like weird. Do something. Just make it different. Yeah. Okay. What are some of your like biggest pieces of advice?
I don't necessarily have pieces of advice because I'm still figuring it out for myself. And my philosophy when it comes to acting is not fully built yet. And I've started to realize that like just kind of feeling it is not enough. Mm-hmm. Like saying like, well, I feel this way about it or whatnot, or I feel like this is how this character feels. Just doing that and winging it is not enough. And so like that's a process that I'm in right now, is finding my philosophy around acting, because it's really different from everybody, and especially within studio to studio in LA, it's so different. And mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to find that for myself. So I don't really have any advice. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
And
that's
I can
totally
be in a
okay.
growing period.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like as you go through your career, you know, you're going to go through different phases where all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, I'm not getting called in for like college girl or high school girl anymore, teen girl. I'm getting called in for like more of like this young woman, and then all of a sudden you're going to get called in for mom roles, and then all of a sudden you're going to get called in for like that weird lady next door. Then you're gonna no anyway. It's like all of a sudden like you do go through these age phases of your career, and you'll find too that the way that you do things will change with that as you move out of like a more youthful stage into like this young adult stage. You're going to be seen differently, and the types of roles that you get will have a really different vibe, and so that's going to really inform how you audition as well, and how even when you do have like callbacks, you go into like a callback room, it'll inform how you walk into that room too, like how you present yourself, like, oh, I need to look more like I'm 28 now, or instead of 16, so just the way you carry yourself, the way that you talk, and the way that the characters are written is gonna really inform how you show up in the room or on tape. I mean, I think the biggest thing I keep saying the biggest thing. I think another thing that it took me years to learn, and I think some actors never learn it, and it's hard, or they never come to a place of like sort of peace with it, is some actors get really stressed about auditions, even when they're self-tape. And I let that go finally, like several years ago, where I was like, I am never going to feel stress or anxiety about an audition again, even in person. Like I've always told Aubrey, the way I see it is today I got an audition, which is a really lucky thing. If you get an audition, that's lucky, because hundreds of people are submitted and only a number of people get asked to go put on tape or go into a room. Yeah. So as many like if you got asked, you are one of the minority that was asked to keep going forward to be seen. So I always see that as like, gratitude for that opportunity, but more than anything, gratitude for today, I get an opportunity to actually act. Because most actors spend the majority of their time not acting. It's not like if you're an accountant, you spend like 8 hours a day accounting. Okay, actors, we don't do that. Even if like you try to get you join a studio and go into acting class, it's still only like half a day, 90 minutes or whatever a week or whatever it is. And maybe if you're in a play, you're in rehearsals. But other than that, we spend most of our time not acting. So I always think of it as like today I get an opportunity to act, and especially if I get to go into the room, I just think of like I'm going to put on a little show for these people. I'm going to this is my chance to perform. And I just try to do my best at that given moment. And when I leave the room, I just forget about it. I just let it go. Sometimes you beat yourself up if you don't feel like you did a good job. And you're like, and you think about it, and you think about it.
That's the thing. I feel like I used to kind of beat myself up. Or the thing is, I hate watching myself on the tapes, but I need to, because then I can learn how to be better, or how I need to angle my face differently, or just look in a different spot even. You have to watch those tapes to get better. And I think I always just get so much anxiety because I know I'm going to have to watch those tapes of myself. But that's just more of like a self-esteem or like a confidence issue, I'd say, for me, more than like anything. I don't know. Yeah. And so that's why I always tend to not like auditions. It reminds me, and like, I know that this is not how I should think. I know what ways I can look at things. Some patterns are just harder for me to break than others. And for me, like, it's really hard for me sometimes to like go into audition and feel like I haven't already failed, because I've quote unquote, and they're not even fails, but not booking something is not failure at all. No. But in my mind and within my career and how it's gone, it just feels like it's just this reminder of how I've failed, quote unquote. Even though I necessarily haven't, how can I be failed? Like, there's no possible way that like doing one audition and not booking it counts as failure. You can be a wonderful actress and not book anything in your whole fucking life, and maybe be better than Meryl Streep. Like, honestly, you can't let that determine your failure or your worth as an actor or an artist.
There is a large percentage of this industry that is luck. No matter how good,
50% of this industry is luck.
Yeah, no matter how talented or untalented you are, the luck factor is the same for everybody, right? Or you're like a nepo baby. But like, let's just say that like Meryl Streep, as talented as she is and I was as a young woman, like if she hadn't been in the right place at the right time for whatever was like her first big breakout roles, we may never have known who she was. She maybe never would have had a big breakthrough. Like, we just don't know. And like, a lot of this industry is being prepared for when luck does coincide with
And that's what
your
my mom
path.
has told me, and it's like that's why you have to work hard, is so that when
Be ready.
when your time for your luck does come up, then you actually have the skills to put forward and give the people in the room.
And that's one of the biggest problems I think young actors have, or people trying to start out a career, is that, you know, they're all gung-ho for it, but they haven't put in the homework yet, and maybe they got a great opportunity and they just weren't ready for it. And that, I told Aubrey, that definitely happened to me a couple times when I first moved to LA. I really hadn't done any on-camera auditioning for like TV. I had done commercials and stuff back in Minneapolis, and I had done theater, but I really wasn't experienced in doing a theatrical audition, which means TV and film, not theater. It's confusing. And I got a lot of heat, like a lot of attention when I first moved to LA as a comedian because I'm funny. But no, honestly, like I think because I was pretty unique in the market at the time, there were hardly any Asian comedians.
You were like one of the only Asian comedians.
And so, you know, I was getting some stage time around town, and I was getting noticed because I was unique at the time. And so I started getting some auditions. I didn't even have an agent. I just got scouted at different comedy clubs. And I remember I had an audition for a sitcom that was produced by Brian Grazer and, you know, like Ron Howard. Like, it was a kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
I remember being like, ooh, this is exciting. And I really didn't know how to prepare for it. And I didn't really realize I should have reached out to somebody to help me or whatever. I just did what I thought, like, well, I can do this, you know, and it wasn't a complicated scene. But yeah, I went into the room, and I like halfway through the audition, I realized like I really didn't know what I was doing. And obviously I didn't get a call back. This is when the first audition was in person. I didn't get a call back. And then later I really kicked myself that I was like, that I wasn't prepared for that moment. Yeah. But that's how I learned, you know, I learned the hard way. But luckily for me, the show did not get greenlit anyway. It didn't go forward.
I know a lot of people get bummed about not booking a pilot or something, and then the show doesn't even
get a pilot or whatever, you know. But I'm lucky that was the moment that I did really learn, because what if it had been something huge like Friends or whatever, and I would have been like, I would have like wanted to die if it had turned out to be this huge hit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky that I learned on something that wasn't a success, but I did learn my lesson. Yeah. Because that could have ended up being a huge opportunity that I blew, you know, in a way, or possibly, potentially. So yeah, it's all about like being as prepared as you can for when those opportunities present themselves.
I used to be like, oh no, I have so many auditions this week, but it's true. You do have to look at it with this lens of gratitude that you're asked to be there or give that audition.
Yeah.
Anyways, but honestly, I'm in a phase in my life. I kind of wish that I had one self-tape every week so that I had a script that I had to memorize every week. Yeah. Not even for the sake of booking a role, just having it so I can get my memorizing chops kind of back up.
Well, and that's what joining a class is good for. That's what it's for.
Classes are just so expensive. Like classes are so expensive, and they just freaking shouldn't be. Like, not they shouldn't be, because some people are most definitely worth it, and their time is very valued, and that's totally understandable. But it just makes it so that it's harder for people who have less funds to get into the industry. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes me want to like start an actors group.
I think you honestly should.
I mean, because I told Aubrey like several years ago, this is when she was much, much younger. I mean, I was really broke, and I wanted to, you know, just flex my muscles and exercise them on a regular basis. And a friend of mine was just like, oh, I've been going to this. It's not really a class. It's a kind of an acting class, but this guy runs it, and you just pay per class. Like, you just give him $20 or whatever.
You can never find anything like that anymore.
You can show up, or you don't have to show up. And he just brings in a bunch of scripts, and like you just get on stage and you read them, and then he gives you some like direction. He gives you some commentary, and like maybe you try it again or whatever. And then like it was just so nice. Like every week you would just get up and work with different scene partners, different types of scenes, comedy, movie, TV scripts, commercials, whatever you like. If you had something that you wanted to work on, like, oh, I have this audition coming up and I want to work this. Like, it was just such a nice way to like no pressure, because it wasn't like you were trying to kiss the teacher's ass or like move into the next level of the school or whatever, like so many situations are. And it was affordable, and it wasn't like this huge commitment, like, oh, you have to commit for 8 weeks and pay like, you know, $600 a month or whatever. Like, Let's just show up if you can and throw me $20, you know? And it was such a nice way to just, and like, yeah, I really like that. Maybe I should start that. I have to find a space to do it though. That's the thing.
Honestly, you could even do it in this room once we get, what's it called? Once we have a little bit more space.
I know. There's a piece of furniture that we will not talk about, but
it must go.
Yes.
And the living room will be a lot more.
We'll have a little more space here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What's like, well, I don't want to say, like, we don't want to tell our worst audition stories because we both have bad audition stories.
Well,
like,
I already told mine on, what is it called?
Yeah, you did.
I told mine on Trisha Paytas' podcast about how Nickelodeon really did not like me. And I don't blame them at all. I totally auditioned for Nickelodeon again, and I think I'd have a completely different tape and I'd be a completely different actor.
Yeah, I think you were just really...
But I was just really stressed
and scared
and
to like go into that room.
And I was also working at the time that I did the audition.
Yeah.
And no bueno for 11-year-old Aubrey.
Did you tell this story, your Freaky or Friday story? Oh no, I think you did tell that, didn't you?
I did.
On the podcast?
Yeah, where McKenna Grace was the person.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about McKenna Grace.
Yes, I have told that as well.
That's right. I know.
Yeah.
But well,
casting was great on that. And neither me and McKenna booked it. That's completely fine.
Well, here's another casting story of like Aubrey's that just to give you an example of like, I think it's really easy as people who are artistic, like we tend to be more sensitive and emotional sometimes. But here's like a perfect story of like, sometimes you're just not right for the job, and that doesn't mean that you're not doing a good job. And so you cannot.
Oh, is this my American Girl doll
story?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
To be...
Before that, I just want to preface that with I once was listening to a podcast of somebody who, it was like another like parent and child in the industry, and the mom was like talking about like, oh, like, you know, the kid really their child really like had all these goals for themselves. I want to do this and I want to do this and this, and you know, they really put their mind to it and like they accomplished all those things this year, and I'm so proud of them. And I was just like, I just felt like that really was sending like so not the right message, because
what if like you're accomplishing things
accomplishing those things,
like quote unquote booking,
has nothing to do with your, I mean, not 100% nothing, but with your drive or your talent or like your effort, because you could be putting in like 110% effort and putting in amazing auditions and really preparing and having a ton of talent and still not book things because you're just not the right fit, or even like maybe you just don't match the mother that they cast for that role, or maybe like there are a million variables that might make you not the right one for that role. And that doesn't, so I think this happens a lot in the industry when there are kids in the business, is they get praised for booking as if like, wow, you worked so hard and you're amazing. And I see people, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when people, especially, I mean, I don't like it when adults do it, but especially when parents do it for their kids or have their kids do it, when they post a booked it post. Booked it. It's like,
we don't even have to talk about it because we have so many friends of parents who do that.
So many. I think it's fine when your agent or your manager does it, because that's their job. They're promoting their clients. They're proud of their clients, and they're promoting their agency, and they're saying, here's what we have for people who are working.
Is this the fact that it's on the kid's social media account that's run by their parents?
And half the time the parents are doing it.
The kid doesn't even see the account, and then it's like all this stuff about the kid and stuff. And I mean, me and one of my friends, like, she is really heavily against being on social media as a kid in general, like within being in the industry, and like having your parents post for you and stuff like that, because you are like exploiting your kid to a certain extent, and they do have less privacy. And
well, the bigger issue for me is that whole thing of praising, of awarding or like celebrating the booking of the job, when really what should be celebrated is your effort. Because like 100 other kids worked just as hard at that audition and walked out of the room and went on to the next thing and didn't book it. But does that mean that they're a failure? No. And so we're basically celebrating kids and people who booked it as successes. And in this business, if that's the attitude that you have and that's the attitude that you're teaching to your kid, you're just going to teach them to burn out, because you have to appreciate your success as like, the job is like auditioning most of the time. The job is not actually shooting a job.
The job is auditioning.
Yeah, you're auditioning a lot more. And so like I just really cringe when I see those kind of posts. Anyway, so what I was gonna say is so Aubrey had there was a casting director who was really championing her for this role in an American Girl film. And she clearly like was pushing Aubrey.
I was in that room for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe
And you
more.
were what, like
it felt like a really
8,
long time.
9
I've never
or
been in
something?
a room that long in my life.
Were you like 9 or 10, 8, 9 or 10
I'd
or
say like
something-ish?
8.
Yeah.
Like,
So she was pretty young. She was still on Modern Family, but this was going to shoot during her hiatus, which is like the break that they take, like kind of like, it's like sort of like summer break from school. So there's a break that they take every season, between each season. And
I wish I almost had the footage from that audition.
I'm sure you did a great audition, you know.
I
But this
wish I had
casting
footage
director
from that.
really, really loved Aubrey for this role and was really pushing her. Now, there's a misconception that the casting director is the one that makes choices. They do not. They narrow down the choices to present to the decision makers. It's their job to be in tune with what the decision makers want, you know, the directors, the producers, the writers. Like, this is the character that we have in mind. This is the type of person we see in this. These are the types. This is the look, whatever, right? This is the age. And like to find then submissions that will match that. Then after that, they view those tapes or the live auditions and they go, okay, this person I think would fit it. They narrow it down and then they present, and then they have like the callbacks and then they present them. Often like those people are in the callbacks. They present them like, here are some people that I think you should consider. So all the people that get cut in that first round are people they don't think are quite right the fit for this role, according to what the decision makers want and the writers want. So at that point, like, you know, the casting director kind of has to let it go then, and then they're going to make their decisions, producers, writers, directors, right? And sometimes the network and the studio, right? So at that point, it's out of their hands, but this casting director really was pushing for Aubrey, and I felt from the get-go there was no way she was going to book it because the family was Chinese.
Honestly,
100%
one of the family was
Chinese.
Chinese, and the whole family was. And, you know, as you guys know, I'm half white, and now in this day and age, like, that would
And
never
Korean.
fly.
Yeah, we're not
And,
Chinese.
like, honestly, it was probably for the best that I didn't book that because it
There would have
wasn't
been
meant
hate.
for me. No, it wasn't meant for me anyways.
It wasn't. Like, the whole family, there was a brother and a mother and a father who were all 100% Chinese, and they even had some scenes where they were speaking Mandarin at home and stuff. I'm like, and she was like, no, I don't think they're going to mind. They shoot these movies really fast and furious, and they need a kid
There was a
that
lot
has
of American Girl doll movies, if you guys haven't watched
made
any
and
of them.
they make them
Like,
fast.
yeah.
So they need
And-
kids who are like professionals. So like they're having a hard time finding an Asian American girl who has the camera time, who is professional and knows how to, like, you know, scene, who can get through it. And so that's why she was one of the reasons she was pushing for you.
Because I'd been working for 4 years, 5
Yeah.
years already.
But obviously she did not book it.
Not meant
But
for
this
me. I'm glad I
casting
didn't book
director
it.
went above and beyond to
was
prep
great.
her. She was amazing. And I wish I could think of her name off the top of my head, but I'll look it up. But she was amazing, and she was so sweet with Aubrey, and she spent like an extra half hour alone in the room coaching her for her tape. And or did you tape for it, or did you go in live in person?
I went in person.
You did go in, okay.
I went in person, and I was it just me and her alone in the room? It might have been. And we just kind of,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So she spent like a half hour like coaching her to make sure that she had like the right vibe for the audition and stuff. And then she didn't book it. And the girl who did book it was 100% Chinese.
She did great.
And she was awesome. But that's just an example of like, you just do your best and you take that opportunity because you never know what that casting director is going to remember you for later. You never know what, you know, somebody's, because even when you're doing an in-person audition with the casting director, they're always videoing it and they pass that video on to the producers and the director and stuff like that. So you never know who else is going to see your tape and think of you like, oh, you know what? That girl that we saw for that, like, she'd be perfect for this. So, and I've had that happen to me many times over the years where I've auditioned for something and I wasn't right for it, but then that casting director called me in for something else. Yeah. And then I still didn't book it, but that's okay.
That's
You just
how
you never
it
know. You
goes,
never
and
know.
You got to keep your head high somehow.
You want to hear my
And
funniest?
that's why I'm a musician.
And that's why.
Anyways.
And that's why I'm a property manager. No, I was kidding.
No real.
We want to hear like one of my funniest audition stories. You haven't really watched this show. You haven't watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, have you?
No, I haven't. I just made that joke about it when I was in that play a few months ago.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah, she had a joke in a play
that,
about.
So I know what the show is.
So the show
is
it's about this guy, Larry David, and he's like classically like putting his foot in his mouth. Like he's just trying to get through the day, and he always ends up he's just super socially awkward. He always does something that offends somebody accidentally. He gets himself in all kinds of weird situations. Yeah. And the actual show is mostly improvised. So they have like a point A and a point B. The storyline is going to go, Larry does this, and then they're going to meet at this house, then they're going to go to this. And by the end of this scene, like, we need this to happen. And then the actors have to improvise within that scenario.
That's so fun.
And so I have a lot of improv background. And so it was really like kind of like cool to get called into these auditions because you would actually improvise in the audition. There was no script, like your nightmare, basically. So, and I love that. I love being able to just go in and play. So I got an audition for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it was a scene, and it made it into the show. I did not book it. It was a scene where I was playing a flight attendant, and Larry gets onto the plane, and he puts his seat back before takeoff, and the woman behind him is complaining, and you're supposed to have your seat up, so she has to go over and tell him to put the seat up, and they end up getting in an argument. Okay, so you dress the part. You don't have to go in like full costume, but you wear something that is suggestive.
I could see you as this.
A flight attendant, right? So I wore a collared button shirt with a dark blazer and black pants and dress shoes. And when you get there on the table, instead of having like, they're called sides, which are like the section of the script that you're going to audition with, they had, they just have little strips of paper that say your scene, like what's happening. Larry gets onto the plane, he puts a seat back, blah, 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 blah. That's all they tell you. And then they call you in, and I did not know when I went in the room, because this was just for a first call, it was not a callback. The whole cast was in the room.
The whole cast?
Literally, Larry David was in there,
Oh
all the other
my
actors, because they do all these different scenes, so all the different actors from the other scenes are there too, ready to improvise with all the other, for the different scene actors. And I walked in, and the whole cast was there. I was like, holy shit.
So you did the scene with him?
Yeah, so they're like, okay, this is, and I was like, oh, so nice to meet you. And he's like, hi, nice to meet you. This is the funny part. The audition itself was like, it was fine. It went great.
Oh my gosh.
And I auditioned for the show twice, and both times I didn't book it. But because I got called in again, I know that they liked me and I wasn't doing a bad job. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have called me back in for another audition if I was doing a bad job. But did I book it 2 times? No, I didn't. But I walked out of there knowing that I did a good job, right? And that's all you can do. But here's the funniest part. Because if you ever watch the show, you'll see why this is so funny. Because Larry David is just super socially awkward, and that's what the whole show is about. So I walked in, and so they're like, "Okay, Larry, this is your scene." So he stood up. He's like, "Hi, I'm Larry. Nice to meet you." I'm like, "Hi, I'm Amy." And he was like, "Whoa, are you actually a flight attendant?"
Are you actually a flight attendant?
I was dying. I was like, "No, I'm just an actor." And he's like, "Oh wow, you really look like one." I almost felt like we were doing a scene from the show within the audition. And I'm just like, just because I kind of dressed the part, and I was like, kidding right now. I'm like, no, just an actor. He was like, okay, well that's great. I mean, you really look like a flight attendant. I'm like, I didn't book it.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
A black woman booked it.
We love a diverse casting.
And that is great. Okay, we're getting toward the end here. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I don't know. I could talk about this stuff forever. There's so many ins and outs of this industry, and it can be really, really tricky. But I
love acting the most because of the people.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just
there's
everything for me. I think comes down
show
community,
people.
because even though I'm a little bit more of an introvert, like truly, I would not want to live if it wasn't for all of my artist friends, and you know what I mean, like collaborative efforts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Truly, I wouldn't want to live without it.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like that camaraderie you have when you do a play or a show with somebody.
It's like unmatched. Even when you do it in high school,
special.
Anybody who's done high school theater
or community theater or children's theater, like
it's
very special.
And it's like, even when you don't get paid to do it, it's not about that. It just, it consumes your life in like the best way possible. Sometimes not in the best way. But it's just, for me, I feel like I've always had such a good time. And yeah, that's why I love acting so much.
Yeah, me too.
And I love the actual doing of it too. But for me, it's mostly about the people.
It's so exciting. Like, I mean, obviously, like TV and film's a little different. I love that too. But like theater is like crazy. Like those moments of like when you're like about to walk on stage and stuff. Like, do you just feel insane? Like, it's so like crazy, but it's also like it's the biggest rush. It's like it's so much like adrenaline and like just knowing that you're about to walk on stage.
Even when I did like Hairspray community theater as a swing, and it literally, when I tell you, it was one of the most fun casts I've ever been in, and I did feel so committed. And like, even I feel like people think, oh, because they're ensemble, they're just not as good, which is just never the case at all. I was having that conversation with someone yesterday. Yeah. I don't know who it was. But yeah.
Especially in that show, the ensemble did so much work. They had so many dance scenes.
And a lot of us were understudies and swings. And so we all did a lot. And yeah, I love those people in that cast so much. They were all so cool.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot that goes into the industry.
Yeah.
The connections you make.
It's not just about like Hollywood being a bunch of weirdos. We're really not.
It's honestly
we're all just a bunch of theater kids.
Yeah. For me, it's never been about being famous to any extent. It's never been about money necessarily for me either.
Yeah, and me either, which is why I feel like you've turned out okay. You know, people was like, oh, how did, Aubrey's so lucky she didn't turn out like one of those crazy Hollywood kids that turned into like drug addicts, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
first of all, calm down. I was on ABC. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
I was on ABC.
Like, this isn't like 2000s. That sounds bad. I'm not going to say
okay, don't say it. Yeah.
But, I feel like a lot has changed within, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People usually turn out that way because of how their parents are.
Well, that's what I mean. If you're here or your parents set you up to be like, oh, we just want to be famous. We just want to be rich and famous. Oh, shoot.
Here, we'll end the video.
Yeah, we got to end anyway. But
both of our cameras.
No!
Well, our sound is working. So.
Okay, so yeah.
Andrew, you can put some funny clips of us or something. And but anyways.
Yeah, if you're in this just to be famous, like you're never gonna be happy.
Find a different job.
Find a different way to be famous. Go be an influencer.
Yeah.
Because you'll never be happy as an actor. I don't know. There's probably some people who are happy, but I find that they just self-destruct because nothing's ever enough, you know?
What, influencers?
No, actors who just are acting because they want to be famous and rich.
I agree.
There has to be more there for you, you know?
Yeah, that's joyless. Find a job that you enjoy.
Find your joy.
Anyways,
all right.
Find your joy.
We're going to go.
Yes, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it was less controversial
Please
than our
vote.
episode.
And
give us a like and a subscribe if you would like to hear us yap some more.
Yes, and let us know in our YouTube comments or in our Instagram comments and DMs if there are any specific things you want to hear us talk about, and if you have any specific questions for us. And we did a live a little while ago. We'll do another one soon. But that's it. I guess we're gonna go.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you guys. You're awesome.
All right.
Bye. Oh yeah, I'm Amy.
And I'm Aubrey.
You've been listening to or watching. Well, you're not watching it now.
You've been listening to
Let's Discuss.
Bye.
Peace.
You've been listening to Let's Discuss with Aubrey and Amy.
Edited by the amazing Andrew Adame.
And special thanks to Eric Demchik for his technical help.
Let's Discuss was recorded on our couch at home in sunny Los Angeles.
Follow us on Instagram at Aubrey Amy Let's Discuss.
See you next time.